All right, so this is a topic that a lot of people have very, very, very strong opinions on. So first of all, if you clicked on this video and you're somebody with one of these strong opinions, either side, I'm just going to give you a not a warning, but just kind of a preview. This is not going to be political. This is not going to be um, anything of like, oh, well, he's this or he's that. This is going to be a strictly sports side of view. This is a sports channel. And the only reason why I'm covering this topic is because it is in the news once again. Um, and there's something more to talk about than just speculation. So, with that being said, Colin Kaepernick, the name itself sparks a lot of reaction from people on either side. Um, Colin Kaepernick had a workout that, if you had not seen, it was planned. Kind of a last minute thing, to be honest with you. It was just kind of a situation where he had been asking the league for a long time to be given a shot to prove that he can still do it. Um, of course, Colin Kaepernick had a successful career. And I know there's a couple people who will try to tell you no, he did not. There's people who try to tell you that he was not good or was never good. Bottom line is, like him or not, Colin Kaepernick was a successful quarterback in the NFL. I'm just going to put that out there. As far as his career in the NFL, he won the NFC Championship. He got to the Super Bowl, and that right there shows you that he was a successful quarterback. Um, he was kind of an interesting situation because he came in for Alex Smith. Now I know you're saying, well, hey, Alex Smith is not looked at as a great quarterback. Let me take you back. Alex Smith at the time was starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Um, I believe Jim Harbaugh was the coach at the time. Alex Smith, obviously, at the time was drafted high, I believe number one overall. He was very successful. Jim Harbaugh decided to bench him for Colin Kaepernick, which among the 49er fans was obviously a very questionable decision. But Colin came in, performed well. Um, as far as his career as a whole, like I said, was not bad. Despite your opinion on him, you can't deny that he had success, like it or not. Um, so anyway, Colin Kaepernick had this little workout on Saturday, um, and it was originally planned to be at the Atlanta Falcons training facility. I forget what time exactly, but something happened where there was some kind of misunderstanding or disagreement on the terms of which the workout was going to be had, and it got moved to a different location 40 minutes away at a high school in Georgia. Strictly from a sports standpoint, like I said, this is not a good look for Colin Kaepernick, just starting off. The whole knock on Colin, obviously, we know the story with him deciding to use his right to protest. Now, I don't think it, I'm not even going to get into it. But anyway, the whole knock was he was considered a distraction, along with some of the other guys who decided to do it with him. Like I said, I'm not going to say if I agree or disagree. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just telling you the general information. The reason why he was kicked out of the league and cut was mostly because of the fact that this was a distraction. Of course, there's a certain population that felt very strongly against what they were doing. And Colin was kind of looked at as the leader. And if you will remember, it was a former Army personnel, I think it was a lineman, who told him, hey, if you're going to protest, do it kneeling instead of sitting. That way it's more respectful. I'm just going to put that out there. So, this, of course, caused a lot of talk, a lot of frustration, a lot of unhappy people, and very much a bad look on the NFL from the standpoint of a certain group of people. Now, Colin Kaepernick, towards the end of his career, was not having the success that he had before. I want to make that clear. He was not nearly as successful as he had been. I believe CJ Beathard took over, um, and that kind of says it all right there. He wasn't having the success that he was. There was other distractions, so the Niners decided to cut him. Now, for I believe 3 years roughly, um, seems like every other week. It's been, when's Colin going to be back? When's guy X going to be back? Guy Y? All these people who participated in their protest during the national anthem. I almost said Cowherd. It's another story. But anyway, Colin Kaepernick had this workout 3 years later, was granted a chance to prove that he can still play. Of course, this was treated as kind of like a pro day, like you would see with a college athlete who's trying to prove to NFL scouts why they should have him on their team. So, like I said, Colin Kaepernick did move this event to the high school, and it's a bad look for him because the whole idea was he wanted transparency. And to me, what this says is if I have something that I worked my life to get and I was successful and then I lost it and I wanted to get back, I would do everything possible to get back. To me, the changing of the venue, the whole time change, the whole situation almost tells me that he's not fully committed. Now, I'm not saying he's doing this as a distraction, like he wants to be in the news more. I'm not saying any of that at all. I'm just saying, in general, that is a bad look for him. Now, of course, he decided to bring his own receivers. And some of the scouts that originally were planned to be at the Falcons facility for this workout could not make it due to the fact that it was so far away. Now, the workout itself, it was, like I said, it was a pro day style of a workout. I didn't think he looked that bad as far as throwing the football. I wouldn't say it was elite. Like there was a report saying that a scout said he still had elite arm talent, just like he had coming out of college. I wouldn't say it was elite. I'd say he had major pros and major cons as far as throwing the football. His deep ball looked great. Not consistently great, but as far as the majority, the deep ball looked perfect. Mid-range, kind of a similar story. Wasn't as consistent, but when he did, it looked great. He did a lot of play action, a lot of rollout stuff. Those were his strengths when he was in the NFL in general. And similar to then, just as good. His short to mid-range, more of that kind of closer throw, seemed a little bit off, a little bit. Obviously, for a guy who's been out of the league as much as he has, it wasn't horrible. I think it was actually pretty good. And I know you're saying, hey, if you know me, I'm a Browns fan. You're saying, okay, well, you thought he looked good. And I do. I think he looked good. So your question, of course, would be, hey, would you want the Cleveland Browns to sign Colin Kaepernick? Now, let me be clear. As far as talent and as far as ability goes, sure. I think there's not a team in the league that wouldn't want that, at least as a backup. I think he could start for a couple teams right now. You know, It's and I don't think that's very controversial in saying that. I think based off what he proved, he still has the ability, he still has the talent, he's continued to work. However, the reason why I would say no, I don't want the Browns to sign him would be because we have more issues than just talent. We're fine at talent. Depth at quarterback is not good. Um, but the whole issue with the Browns is managing the locker room, being disciplined, all the distractions. This would just bring more distractions. And that is the negative with if somebody tries to sign him or at least bring him in, there's going to be a lot of talk. There's going to be a lot of distractions. Like I said, you're going to have part of the country who thinks he's freaking Tom Brady. Then you have part of the country who thinks he's absolutely trash. I don't think neither. I think he is right above average. I would say at this point, um, I think he's better than a lot of quarterbacks who are backups. And I could point at a couple starters that he's probably better than. That's my take. I'm not saying you have to agree with me there. But that's just kind of what I got. Now, of course, this is all on air. This isn't putting him in a situation where he has to read a defense, has to make a play. As far as just what you've seen, I thought it looked good. I don't think if I had to make a prediction, will he get signed? I'd say no. And that's not because he shouldn't be. I think based off of his talent, he should be signed. I think just from the standpoint of the whole fact that the venue had to get moved, some of the scouts couldn't make it. He refused to answer questions. He just made a statement. His statement was go back and tell your owners, don't be scared. I think that's a bad look. And I understand he's frustrated. But when your whole knock on you is that you're a distraction, and on the day you're supposed to prove why you should be in the league, there's more distractions, I'd say that's a bad look. Um, I could see the XFL being his place where he goes. Um, I would personally like to see him in the NFL, only because I think he has the ability um, to perform. I don't think anybody's going to give him that chance, though. And to be honest with you, if you're a team that really doesn't need to have him as a backup, meaning if you have people who are good enough, why would you bring that distraction? Um, and I'm not saying he's a horrible person. I'm not saying all that. I'm just saying if he doesn't get signed, I don't think it's because of well everybody hates him. I don't think it's that. I think if I'm not mistaken, he said that he would stand for the anthem, which was the whole knock on him to begin with a certain group of people. So I think it's more than just the whole anthem thing. I think it's just the fact, and you've seen this with the Browns. And yes, the Browns are my team. I'm wearing a brown shirt. But you've seen this with Cleveland and the fact that you acquire all these big name guys. Uh, it becomes a distraction. They're telling you multiple different things about you, no matter if it's true or not. You start to believe it. If at this point, if a team signs Colin Kaepernick and you got some guys in that locker room that are on the side of anti what he's done, there's going to be dysfunction. And I think teams aren't willing to take that risk. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying I don't think it will happen. I would like to see him in the NFL, like I already said. I think the XFL is probably his best chance of playing again. Maybe if it works out in the XFL, maybe then at a point teams would sign him. But just based on what happened, as far as the off the field, with having to move it, with the more distractions, um, I don't think it's going to happen. I was impressed with the workout, um, but I don't think it's going to happen. If it does happen, I'll make another video and I'll be wrong. Um, but I'll be surprised. So, um, hopefully, none of y'all got too mad. I know this sparks a lot of opinion, um, a lot of usually a lot of conflict with these issues. So, hey, I'm talking about the athletic side of things. I don't think it's going to work out. That's just my opinion. Hope for the best, however. So, yeah, that's my take. So, with that being said, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. I would appreciate if you would let me know who you would think would sign him, should they sign him, and your thoughts on the workout itself. So, I'd appreciate it if you told me that. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.